Story 1 of 44. Australia's 2026 Daylight Saving Time transition ending in April. Australia's 2026 Daylight Saving Time transition ending in April. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Daylight Saving Time ends in Australia on Sunday, April 5, 2026, at 3 a.m. local time, Australian Eastern Daylight Time / Australian Eastern Standard Time transition. Clocks move back by 1 hour on April 5, 2026, from 3 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time to 2 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time in participating states. States observing daylight saving include New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Tasmania, the ACT, and Norfolk Island. Queensland, Western Australia, the Northern Territory, Christmas Island, and the Cocos, Keeling, Islands do not observe daylight saving. Daylight saving returns on Sunday, October 4, 2026, in participating states. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between sources. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 2 of 44. Hungarian election 2024, US and Russia backing Viktor Orbán despite domestic challenges. Hungarian election 2024, US and Russia backing Viktor Orbán despite domestic challenges. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Viktor Orbán's Fidesz party trails in polls ahead of Hungary's April 12 election, with a gap of up to 15 percentage points behind Peter Magyar's Tisza party according to reliable polling in both sources. JD Vance is scheduled to visit Hungary on April 9, days before the election, as confirmed by Viktor Orbán's political director Borlás Orbán on social media in both articles. Russia's disinformation networks and intelligence agencies are alleged to be interfering in Hungary's election to support Orbán, with reports of GRU operatives and coordinated disinformation campaigns targeting Orbán's opponent Peter Magyar in both sources. Hungary's Péter Szijjártó, the foreign minister, has reportedly communicated with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov about confidential EU meetings, with Szijjártó acknowledging the conversations as diplomacy in both articles. Donald Trump has repeatedly endorsed Viktor Orbán, describing him as a fantastic guy and a strong and powerful leader in both sources. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states that Orbán once described Hungary as a petri dish for illiberalism, while Article 2 does not mention this quote or Orbán's past self-characterization. Article 1 claims Orbán's Fidesz party trails behind the centre-right Tisza party led by Peter Magyar, but Article 2 does not explicitly state the exact polling gap, only that it is up to 15 percentage points without naming the exact source of the gap. Article 1 attributes the idea that US-Russia alignment is ironic due to Orbán's illiberalism to Jeremy Shapiro, European Council on Foreign Relations, while Article 2 does not reference this specific quote or analyst. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 3 of 44. 7.4 magnitude earthquake near Indonesia triggers tsunami warnings and local damage. 7.4 magnitude earthquake near Indonesia triggers tsunami warnings and local damage. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck the Molucca Sea at 9:48 a.m. AEDST, local time, on Thursday, at a depth of 35 kilometers. The epicenter was located 127 kilometers west-northwest of Ternate Island, Indonesia, per USGS data. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center issued warnings for potential tsunami waves affecting Indonesia, the Philippines, and Malaysia within 1,000 kilometers of the epicenter. Indonesia's meteorology agency, BMKG, reported minor tsunami waves of 0.3 m in West Halmahera and 0.2 m in Bitung. Australia's Bureau of Meteorology confirmed no tsunami threat to Australia's coastline. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states the closest island to the epicenter was 130 kilometers away, while ABC and Guardian report 127 kilometers. ABC reports one confirmed fatality in Manado, but News Kamau and Guardian do not mention a confirmed death. Guardian initially reports the quake was recorded at 7.8 before revision, while News Kamau and ABC only mention 7.4. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 4 of 44. US Border Patrol abandonment of Rohingya refugee leads to homicide ruling in Buffalo. US Border Patrol abandonment of Rohingya refugee leads to homicide ruling in Buffalo. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nurul Shah Alam, 56, a Rohingya refugee from Myanmar, died on the 24th of February, 2026 in Buffalo, New York, 5 days after being left by US Border Patrol agents at a closed Tim Hortons parking lot at 8:18 p.m. The Erie County Medical Examiner ruled Shah Alam's death a homicide on the 31st of March, 2026, citing complications of a perforated duodenal ulcer precipitated by hypothermia and dehydration as the cause. Shah Alam was released from Erie County Detention on the 19th of February, 2026 and transferred to Border Patrol custody before being dropped off alone in freezing temperatures without notification to his family or attorney. Shah Alam was visually impaired, lost sight in a childhood accident, and did not speak English, making him vulnerable during release. Shah Alam's family resettled in Buffalo in December 2024 after fleeing persecution in Myanmar, with 3 of his sons still waiting for resettlement in Malaysia. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Shah Alam's death was ruled a homicide on the 3rd of April, 2026, while Article 2 clarifies the final determination date was the 31st of March, 2026. Article 1 includes a direct quote from Tracy Kaikon saying he should not have even been let out of jail. "I don't feel bad at all," but Article 2 does not mention this quote. Article 1 details that Shah Alam's attorney, Ben Macaluso, claimed Shikon's account lacked critical context, stating Shah Alam was frightened by the dog, but Article 2 does not reference this claim. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 5 of 44. Neo-Nazi Joel Davis granted bail after threats against female MPs and social media hate speech. Neo-Nazi Joel Davis granted bail after threats against female MPs and social media hate speech. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Joel Davis, 30 or 31, is a prominent neo-Nazi figure charged with allegedly inciting others to rhetorically rape federal MP Allegra Spender in November 2024. Davis was granted bail at the 4th attempt after being denied 3 times previously, with his latest hearing held in the NSW Supreme Court on the 28th of March, 2024. Davis was arrested in November 2024 for allegedly posting on a neo-Nazi Telegram channel asking users to rhetorically rape MP Allegra Spender, who condemned a neo-Nazi rally outside NSW Parliament. Davis was kept in segregation at Long Bay Jail due to his political beliefs, with reports stating he had not been outside since December 2023 and showered only every 4 days. Davis allegedly made additional violent messages, including "We need a brutal rape of this C***T, he deserves rape and stupid bitch needs to be beaten" fr targeting MPs Kelly Sloan and Julie Inman Grant. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports Davis was 30 years old, while The Guardian states he is 31. ABC states Davis was denied bail 3 times in the local court before the Supreme Court hearing, while The Guardian does not specify the number of local court denials. ABC reports Davis was removed from the NSN by Jack Eltis after the rhetorical rape comments, but The Guardian does not mention this detail. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 6 of 44. Australia's fuel supply crisis and government response amid global disruptions. Australia's fuel supply crisis and government response amid global disruptions. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 53 to 55 ships carrying fuel are en route to Australia, with deliveries expected this month, ABC, 53, Thij SMH, 55. 3.7 billion litres of fuel are on board the ships heading to Australia, ABC. Australia's monthly fuel consumption is approximately 4.5 billion litres, ABC. 410 service stations across Australia are without diesel, and 145 to 193 are without unleaded petrol, ABC. 410-145, Thij SMH, 410,193. The federal government halved the fuel excise by 26.3 cents per litre, with an additional 5.7 cent cut, total 32 cents, until June 30, ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports 145 stations without unleaded petrol, while Thij SMH report 193 stations without petrol. ABC states 48 stations in NSW are out of stock entirely, but Thij SMH do not mention this specific breakdown. ABC's Matt Barry claims the 3.7 billion litres announced is insufficient for a month, while Thij SMH do not include this specific criticism. This story was covered by ABC News, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 7 of 44. Victorian Liberal preselection battle over Western Metropolitan Region Upper House seat. Victorian Liberal preselection battle over Western Metropolitan Region Upper House seat. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Dinesh Gurisetti defeated Moira Deeming in a Victorian Liberal preselection vote on Sunday the 10th of March, 2024 for the Western Metropolitan Region Upper House seat, winning 39 votes to Deeming's 26, Article 1, 5, 6. Gurisetti provided a character reference for Kashyap Patel, who pleaded guilty in 2024 to grooming, sexually assaulting, and transmitting indecent communications to a 15-year-old girl in 2021, Articles 1, 3, 6. Patel was sentenced to 9 months imprisonment and a 2-year community correction order in 2024, Articles 3, 6. Victorian Liberal Party President Philip Davis announced on Monday the 11th of March, 2024 that Gurisetti had withdrawn his candidacy, Articles 1, 6. The Victorian Liberal Party executive resolved to hold a fresh preselection ballot after Gurisetti's character reference was revealed, Articles 2, 7. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Gurisetti denied withdrawing his candidacy and claimed he had not formally withdrawn, while Article 6 states Philip Davis announced Gurisetti had withdrawn his candidacy. Article 1 reports Gurisetti's letter to party executive stated he had not formally withdrawn and did not intend to, but Article 8 reports that Gurisetti withdrew his candidacy after the controversy emerged. Article 5 reports that Gurisetti received 39 votes, Deeming 26, and Law 3, while Article 1 reports a slightly different tally without specifying the exact numbers for Law. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and The Age. Story 8 of 44. American journalist Shelly Kittleson kidnapped in Baghdad by armed men linked to Iran-backed militia. American journalist Shelly Kittleson kidnapped in Baghdad by armed men linked to Iran-backed militia. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Shelly Kittleson, a 49-year-old American journalist based in Rome, was kidnapped in Baghdad on Tuesday, the 27th of February, 2024. Kittleson had written for Al Monitor and was identified as a contributor by at least 2 sources, ABC, Guardian, News.com.au. An arrested suspect has ties to the Iran-backed Kataib Hezbollah militia, confirmed by ABC and Guardian. Iraqi authorities intercepted a vehicle belonging to the kidnappers that overturned during a car chase, per ABC and Guardian. The State Department warned Kittleson of threats prior to the abduction, as stated by ABC and Guardian. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states the suspect was arrested after a car chase where the vehicle overturned as they attempted to escape, while News.com.au notes the vehicle was intercepted but Kittleson was not in the vehicle, implying she was not inside during the chase. The Guardian mentions the abduction occurred after the US-Israeli attack on Iran, the 28th of February, but ABC and News.com.au do not explicitly tie the timing to this event. ABC and Guardian report the State Department fulfilled our duty to warn Kittleson, while News.com.au specifies Trump administration sources advised her against traveling to Iraq, a stronger directive. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 9 of 44. Kieran Foran's debut as interim NRL head coach for Manly-Warringah Sea Eagles. Kieran Foran's debut as interim NRL head coach for Manly-Warringah Sea Eagles. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Kieran Foran took over as Manly Sea Eagles head coach after Anthony Miller was sacked on Friday, the 12th of April, 2024. Foran's first match as head coach is against the Dolphins at Redcliffe on Thursday night, the 18th of April, 2024. Foran is 35 years old and is among the youngest to take charge of an NRL side this century. 9 of Foran's former Manly teammates remain at the club from his 2022 season. Foran has only made one forced change for the Dolphins match, insisting he won't rip up Manly's squad. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1, ABC, states Foran's first match is on Thursday night, while Article 2, ABC Live, does not specify the exact date but frames it as a long weekend opener without conflicting dates. No contradictions in core factual claims. Both sources align on Foran's age, squad composition, and transition timeline. This story was covered by ABC News. Story 10 of 44. Trump appoints JD Vance as fraud czar targeting Democratic states with fraud crackdowns. Trump appoints JD Vance as fraud czar targeting Democratic states with fraud crackdowns. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump appointed JD Vance as his fraud czar on the 4th of April, 2024, focusing on Democratic states. Federal officials announced 8 arrests in California on the 4th of April, 2024 for over $50 million in Medicare healthcare fraud. The arrests were part of Operation Never Say Die, targeting sham hospice care schemes in Southern California. The accused included healthcare professionals like nurses and a psychologist who allegedly used non-terminal patients as Medicare beneficiaries. Trump claimed fraud in California, Illinois, Minnesota, Maine, and New York is massive and pervasive without providing evidence. But not all outlets told the same story. Trump claims fraud in California is more than in Minnesota, but Minnesota's Governor Walz denies fraud allegations entirely. The Guardian reports Trump's administration halted $250 million in Medicaid funds to Minnesota, but Walz calls this a fraud accusation with no evidence. California's Governor Newsom says the Trump administration is blaming California for federal program issues, while Trump's team frames it as state-level fraud. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 11 of 44. Australia investigates social media platforms for under-16s age ban compliance violations. Australia investigates social media platforms for under-16s age ban compliance violations. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube are under investigation by Australia's e-safety commissioner for potential non-compliance with the under-16 social media ban, announced on or before February 2025. The ban, effective December 10, 2024, prohibits users under 16 from holding accounts on platforms including Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, X, Reddit, Twitch, Kick, and excludes Discord, WhatsApp, and Roblox. Over 4.7 million accounts were deactivated or restricted in the first 2 days after the ban took effect, according to data from the Australian government. Meta, Facebook, Instagram, reported closing 550,000 accounts under the ban, while Snapchat and TikTok combined closed 665,000 accounts. The e-safety commissioner's report, released February 2025, alleges platforms allow underage users to repeatedly attempt age verification until they pass, fail to block banned users from creating new accounts, and have poor reporting mechanisms for underage users. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and The Guardian both report that platforms allow underage users to repeatedly attempt age verification, but only The Guardian specifies that this includes platforms encouraging attempts even when declared age is under 16. The Guardian reports that 70% of under-16s retained accounts on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, while ABC does not provide a specific percentage for these platforms but states that many children still had access. ABC states that the e-safety commissioner's report will be released on Tuesday, while The Guardian and News Corp Australia do not specify an exact date but imply it was released in February 2025. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and SBS News. Story 12 of 44. German celebrity couple's digital abuse allegations spark legal and legislative debate on online violence. German celebrity couple's digital abuse allegations spark legal and legislative debate on online violence. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Kieran Foran accused Christian Ullman of creating and distributing AI-generated deepfake pornographic images of her via fake social media accounts. Foran filed a legal complaint against Ullman in Spain in 2025, citing stronger legal protections for gender-based violence there. The couple separated in 2025 after living together in Mallorca, Spain, before moving back to Germany. Foran told Der Spiegel she discovered hundreds of fake pornographic images of her circulating online, later attributing them to Ullman. Germany's Justice Minister Stefanie Hubig announced plans to criminalize production and distribution of non-consensual deepfake porn with up to 2 years in prison. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Foran accused Ullman of creating AI-generated deepfakes, while Article 2 clarifies her allegations primarily involve identity abuse, fake profiles, rather than AI deepfakes. Article 1 reports Ullman's lawyer denied the allegations and accused Der Spiegel of spreading fake facts, while Article 2 does not include this direct accusation. Article 1 mentions Foran claimed Ullman confessed to her after her 2024 documentary, but Article 2 does not explicitly state this confession detail. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 13 of 44. Nicole Daedone's prison sentence for forced labor conspiracy in One Taste wellness scheme. Nicole Daedone's prison sentence for forced labor conspiracy in One Taste wellness scheme. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nicole Daedone, co-founder of One Taste Inc., was sentenced to 9 years in federal prison for a forced labor conspiracy involving coercion of women into sex acts with clients and investors. Daedone was ordered to forfeit $12 million in assets by the federal court in Brooklyn, New York. 7 victims received roughly $890,000 in restitution as part of the case. Daedone sold her stake in One Taste for $12 million in 2017, a year before legal scrutiny began. One Taste's orgasmic meditation, OM, practice involved women lying unclothed with legs open while men manually stimulated their clitoris for 15 minutes in a goalless meditation session. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Daedone didn't appear remorseful during sentencing, while Article 2 does not mention her emotional state in court. Article 1 describes Daedone's defense as arguing for a 2-year sentence, but Article 2 does not reference the defense's sentencing plea length. Article 1 claims Daedone declined to speak in federal court, while Article 2 does not address her behavior during the trial or sentencing. This story was covered by The Guardian. Story 14 of 44. Climate change threatens Australia's superb fairy wren with extinction within decades. Climate change threatens Australia's superb fairy wren with extinction within decades. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The superb fairy wren was voted Australia's favourite bird in 2013 and 2021 Guardian BirdLife Australia polls. Researchers predict the superb fairy wren population at Canberra's Australian National Botanic Gardens could go extinct within 30 to 40 years under intermediate and very high carbon emission scenarios, 2059 to 2062. The study found population extinction is likely to happen very fast within 30 to 40 years in intermediate and very high emission scenarios. The superb fairy wren suffered low breeding success during dry springs and reduced adult survival following unusually warm winters and hot summers. Researchers used nearly 30 years of weekly observations to track the bird's survival impacts from climate change. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states the extinction risk is within 30 to 40 years under intermediate and very high emission scenarios, while ABC specifies 2059 to 2062 for extinction under those scenarios. The Guardian mentions extinction risk even under optimistic emission scenarios, but ABC does not explicitly state this. The Guardian does not mention the 50% mortality rate in the Botanic Gardens or the 70% mortality rate in Mount Ainsley's group, only ABC reports these figures. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 15 of 44. Romanian trio charged for wallet-dropping scam targeting elderly Queensland shoppers. Romanian trio charged for wallet-dropping scam targeting elderly Queensland shoppers. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 3 Romanian nationals, 2 men aged 49 and 42, 1 woman aged 29, were arrested in 8 Mile Plains on March 28 for allegedly fleecing elderly victims, ages 70 to 94, at Queensland shopping centres using a wallet-dropping scam. $19,000 to $20,000 was seized from a unit complex in 8 Mile Plains during the arrests. Victims were targeted at shopping centres in Kenmore, Chermside, Strathpine, North Lakes, Buddina, Caloundra, and Laidley while using ATMs or paying for groceries. The 49-year-old man and 29-year-old woman were charged with multiple counts of fraud and theft, 4 counts of fraud, 4 counts of stealing, and 2 counts of enter with intent, and refused bail. The 42-year-old man was charged with 1 count of stealing and bailed to appear in Southport Court on April 8. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau does not specify the exact number of fraud-stealing counts for the 49-year-old man or 29-year-old woman, while ABC provides detailed counts, 5-4 for the man, 8-4 for the woman. News Kamau does not mention an adjournment date for the 49-year-old and 29-year-old, but ABC states their matters were adjourned until April 15. News Kamau refers to early April for the 42-year-old man's court date without specifying the exact date, while ABC specifies April 8. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 16 of 44. NASA's Artemis II crewed lunar flyby mission launch and early mission updates. NASA's Artemis II crewed lunar flyby mission launch and early mission updates. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Artemis II is the first crewed lunar mission since Apollo 17 in December 1972, marking a 54-year gap. The mission launched on November 16, 2024, or equivalent date in articles. Actual launch date in articles is Wednesday, November 16, 2024, at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time. The crew consists of Reed Wiseman, NASA, Commander, Victor Glover, NASA, Pilot, Christina Koch, NASA, Mission Specialist, and Jeremy Hansen, Canadian Space Agency, Mission Specialist. The mission is a 10-day flyby around the Moon, reaching a maximum distance of approximately 253,000 miles (407,000 kilometers) from Earth, breaking the Apollo 13 record of 248,655 miles. The Orion spacecraft will pass between 4,000 and 6,000 miles from the lunar surface on Flight Day 6, photographing the Moon's south pole for future landing sites. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 5, ABC, states the launch was set for early Thursday morning AEST, while Article 1, Guardian, and Article 4, ABC, specify the launch was on Wednesday afternoon local time, 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time. Article 2, ABC, mentions the Apollo 13 record distance as 250,000 miles above the Moon's surface, while consensus facts state the Apollo 13 record was 248,655 miles from Earth, not above the Moon. Article 4, ABC, states the launch was the first in 53 years, while other articles consistently state it was the first in 54 years since Apollo 17 in 1972. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 17 of 44. Federal judge dismisses most of Blake Lively's sexual harassment claims against Justin Baldoni in It Ends With Us case. Federal judge dismisses most of Blake Lively's sexual harassment claims against Justin Baldoni in It Ends With Us case. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Judge Lewis Lyman dismissed 10 of the 13 claims in Blake Lively's lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, including sexual harassment, conspiracy, and defamation. Guardian, ABC, Guardian. 3 claims remain: breach of contract, retaliation, and aiding and abetting in retaliation. Guardian, ABC, Guardian. Blake Lively was an independent contractor, not an employee, so her sexual harassment claims under Title VII were dismissed. ABC, Guardian. Judge Lyman ruled that Justin Baldoni's conduct was acting in the scene for It Ends With Us, citing intimate scenes between Lively and Baldoni's characters. Guardian, ABC. The trial is scheduled for May 18, 2025. Guardian, ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. Guardian, Article 1, states Brian Friedman described defendants as very good people who have not engaged in this sexual harassment, while Guardian, Article 3, does not include this exact phrasing from Friedman. ABC mentions Baldoni's alleged response: "Sorry, I missed the sexual harassment training as part of the judge's ruling," but Guardian articles do not reference this specific quote. Guardian, Article 1, reports Baldoni's lawyer said the defendants were not afraid of the truth, while ABC does not mention this phrasing. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 18 of 44. Australia's Reserve Bank bans debit credit card surcharges and caps interchange fees. Australia's Reserve Bank bans debit credit card surcharges and caps interchange fees. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The RBA will ban surcharges on debit, prepaid, and credit cards across EFTPOS, MasterCard, and Visa networks effective October 1, 2026. Australians pay approximately $1.6 billion annually in surcharge fees, while businesses pay $200 million to card providers annually. The RBA will lower the interchange cap for domestic-issued consumer credit cards from 0.8% to 0.3%, saving businesses $910 million per year. The RBA will introduce interchange fee caps for foreign-issued cards starting April 1, 2027, at 1%. About 16% of Australian businesses currently surcharge card payments, with roughly one-third of hospitality businesses doing so. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC report a potential one-off 0.1% price increase for consumers due to businesses absorbing surcharge costs, but the RBA's official statement does not quantify this explicitly. The Guardian and SMH highlight that credit card rewards will likely fall, while the RBA's statement does not directly address this outcome, only mentioning it as an intended consequence of reduced interchange revenue. The ABC quotes Brad Kelly, Independent Payments Forum, saying small businesses' margins are too thin to absorb fee costs, while the RBA's statement does not dispute this but focuses on the broader economic impact. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, SBS News, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 19 of 44. Westpac CEO Anthony Miller warns of Australian recession risks amid inflation and geopolitical tensions. Westpac CEO Anthony Miller warns of Australian recession risks amid inflation and geopolitical tensions. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Anthony Miller, CEO of Westpac, warned in interviews with ABC's That's Business podcast that there is a chance of a recession for Australia due to inflationary pressures and geopolitical tensions. ABC, Newscomau. Australia's inflation rose 3.7% in February 2026, down 0.1% from January, but remains above the Reserve Bank of Australia's, RBA, target band of 2 to 3%, ABC. The RBA has raised interest rates twice in 2026, ABC, Newscomau, most recently by 25 basis points to 4.1% in March 2026, Newscomau. Westpac's chief economist Lucy Ellis forecasted 3 more RBA rate hikes by August 2026, ABC. The median house price in Australia is $933,137, far exceeding the $600,000 to $650,000 range affordable on a median income of $90,000 to $95,000, ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports Westpac's fixed rates were hiked by 0.45 percentage points in March 2026, but Newscomau does not explicitly confirm this timing or magnitude. ABC states NAB offers the lowest fixed rate at 6.04% for a one-year term, while Newscomau does not provide this specific rate comparison. ABC cites Lucy Ellis forecasting 3 more RBA hikes by August 2026, but Newscomau does not reference this exact forecast. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 20 of 44. Australian political polling shows Labor's declining support amid fuel crisis and Iran war backlash. Australian political polling shows Labor's declining support amid fuel crisis and Iran war backlash. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Anthony Albanese's Labour government primary vote dropped to 31% in the latest news poll, from 36% in November 2023 and 34.6% at the May election. One Nation's primary vote is at 26% in news poll and 29% in Redbridge poll. Both sources report recent figures. The Coalition's primary vote is at a record low of 17% in Redbridge and 21% in news poll. 72% of voters disapprove of US military action against Iran, with only 23% approving, reported in both polls. Anthony Albanese's net approval rating is at -17, down 18 points since December 2023, in news poll. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 reports One Nation's primary vote dropped to 26% in news poll, while Article 2 does not mention this specific news poll figure for One Nation. Article 1 states One Nation's primary vote dropped 1 point to 26% in news poll, but Article 2 does not reference this exact change. Article 1 reports Labour's primary vote at 31% in news poll, consistent with Article 2, but Article 2 does not specify the exact news poll methodology, e.g., survey dates. This story was covered by news.com.au. Story 21 of 44. 13-year-old girl charged in Melbourne anti-Semitic crime spree involving car thefts and assaults. 13-year-old girl charged in Melbourne anti-Semitic crime spree involving car thefts and assaults. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A 13-year-old girl from Melbourne's Bayside area was charged with 52 offences including reckless conduct endangering serious injury, multiple thefts, and threatening physical harm based on a protected attribute, anti-Semitism. The girl allegedly drove a stolen black Hyundai sedan in Hampton, Raponnea, and Caulfield over multiple days last week, shouting anti-Semitic remarks and throwing eggs at pedestrians. On the 25th of March, the group allegedly swerved the stolen Hyundai towards Jewish families crossing Hotham Street and Glen Eira Road in Raponnea, narrowly avoiding a collision. The 13-year-old was involved in a hit-and-run in Brighton on the 26th of March, where a stolen silver SUV allegedly attempted to hit a cyclist with its passenger door before crashing into the bike. The cyclist suffered non-life-threatening injuries. 3 female teenagers, 13-year-old from Bayside, 13-year-old, and 16-year-old from Cardinia, were arrested in connection with stolen vehicle crimes, including a stolen white Volkswagen Golf that rammed an e-scooter in Elwood on the 27th of March. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC mentioned the Hyundai was stolen from a gym in Caulfield, but The Age does not specify the location of the theft beyond Melbourne's southeast. The Guardian states the e-scooter crash occurred just after midnight on Tuesday morning, while ABC says it happened just after midnight on Tuesday morning, same time but no additional conflicting detail. The Guardian and ABC do not mention the 564 anti-Semitic incident statistic in Victoria 2025, which is only in The Age. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and The Age. Story 22 of 44. Australia's Easter weather forecast and potential cyclone threat in the Coral Sea. Australia's Easter weather forecast and potential cyclone threat in the Coral Sea. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A tropical low, labelled 37U, between Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands is expected to deepen and strengthen over the weekend, with a high chance of becoming a cyclone by Sunday in the northern Coral Sea. The potential cyclone could move toward the Australian coast from mid-next week, with naming rights dependent on its formation location near the PNG-Fiji boundary, potentially named Owen if formed in Australian waters. Most capital cities will experience showers, but no city is forecast to be completely dry or a total washout over Easter weekend. Sydney is expected to see showers from the start of the weekend, with maximums in the low to mid-20s, and a chance of rain most days except Monday. Brisbane will have temperatures reaching into the high 20s with a chance of rain for the first 3 days of the long weekend, and wind warnings along the Queensland coast. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian says Darwin will have isolated showers, storms and temperatures in the 30s, while ABC states there is between a 50 and 70% chance of precipitation each day, with the usual highs between 32°C and 34°C. The Guardian mentions no city should be a washout, while ABC states the wettest spots should be far north Queensland and Arnhem Land, where up to about 50 mm is possible. The Guardian says mostly fine weather was forecast for Melbourne from Friday to Sunday, with showers expected on Monday, while ABC says Melbourne is tipped to see a shower or two and a top of just 18°C on Friday, followed by a mostly sunny 21°C on Saturday. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 23 of 44. Australian government threatens gas export controls to prevent winter supply shortages. Australian government threatens gas export controls to prevent winter supply shortages. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Resources Minister Madeleine King issued a notice of intent under the Australian Domestic Gas Security Mechanism, ADGSM, on date not specified, to gas producers, warning of potential export controls if domestic supply is insufficient for winter 2024. The ACCC forecast a potential gas shortfall of up to 12 petajoules for July to September 2024, enough to power 76,000 homes during that period. Gas producers have 30 days, until mid-May, to respond to the government's notice before the government decides whether to impose export controls under the ADGSM. The heads of agreement ensuring gas supply for domestic use expired at the start of 2024, and no new agreement has been reached between the government and the energy sector. Madeleine King stated the notice is a precautionary measure and insists Australia's domestic gas supply is currently secure, but the government is prepared to intervene if risks emerge. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states the government is exploring a new tax on gas and thermal coal exports ahead of the federal budget, but Newscomm does not mention this tax proposal. ABC reports the energy sector has been increasingly outspoken against government plans, while Newscomm does not include this detail about sector opposition. ABC emphasizes that the notice puts particular pressure on Santos due to its reliance on uncontracted domestic gas, but Newscomm does not highlight this specific pressure point. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 24 of 44. Australian government response to Middle East war-driven fuel price crisis and national address. Australian government response to Middle East war-driven fuel price crisis and national address. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Anthony Albanese delivered a rare national address to the nation on April 3, 2024, at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, interrupting all TV and radio broadcasts, to address the fuel crisis caused by the Middle East war. The federal government halved the fuel excise on petrol and diesel by 26.3 cents per litre for 3 months, until June 30, reducing the cost of fuel by 26.3 cents per litre, announced on April 1, 2024. The heavy vehicle road user charge was reduced to zero for 3 months, until June 30, to support truck drivers and transport industries. The total cost of the excise cut and road user charge reduction to the government is estimated at $2.55 billion, with an additional $400 million from returning GST windfall revenue to motorists, bringing the total fuel price reduction to 32 cents per litre. The National Fuel Security Plan consists of 4 stages: Plan and Prepare, Keeping Australia Moving; Current Stage, Taking Targeted Action, and Protecting Critical Services for all Australians. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC both report that the excise cut will take time to flow through to consumers, but news.com.au's trucker claims the excise credit for truckers will also be reduced, negating any benefit for them. The Guardian and ABC report that the excise cut is expected to cost $2.55 billion, but the ABC initially reported that the cost was $2.5 billion, with an additional $53 million from delaying the heavy vehicle road user charge increase. The Guardian reports that the excise cut could increase demand for fuel, potentially worsening shortages, while the ABC and ABC's Mark Butler suggest that the excise cut will help reduce demand by making fuel cheaper and encouraging conservation. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, SBS News, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 25 of 44. US-Iran war escalation, Trump's threats, ceasefire talks, and regional fallout. US-Iran war escalation, Trump's threats, ceasefire talks, and regional fallout. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump threatened to obliterate or blow up Karg Island, Iran's oil hub, 90% of Iran's oil production, if Iran does not agree to a ceasefire or reopen the Strait of Hormuz by April 6 deadline. Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Baghaei called US peace proposals unrealistic, illogical, and excessive and stated Iran received proposals via intermediaries, Pakistan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, but no direct negotiations with the US. Thousands of US troops, including 2,500 Marines, have arrived in the Middle East, with additional capacity being built for potential future operations, though no decision has been made to invade Iran. Israel launched missile strikes on military infrastructure in Tehran and Hezbollah targets in Beirut, while Iran-backed Houthis fired missiles at Israel for the first time since the war began. Oil prices surged to nearly $117 per barrel, on track for the largest monthly gain ever, 54% since March start, due to reduced fuel production and Strait of Hormuz tensions. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and Guardian report Trump's April 6 deadline for Iran, but Newscomau does not mention this specific date. ABC states Trump's Truth Social post included threats to obliterate Karg Island, oil wells, power plants, and desalinization plants, while Newscomau omits the desalinization threat and focuses only on power stations and Karg Island. Guardian highlights Trump's preference to take the oil in Iran, implying invasion, in a Foot interview, but ABC and Newscomau do not reference this specific statement. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 26 of 44. Queensland Rail industrial action disrupting train services in April 2024. Queensland Rail industrial action disrupting train services in April 2024. Here's what every outlet agrees on. No trains operated between Darra and Rosewood, Ipswich Line, and Central and Cleveland on Wednesday, April 1, due to industrial action. Queensland Rail warned commuters of disruptions on Wednesday, April 1, and potential further disruptions on Thursday, April 2, due to industrial action. The Rail, Tram and Bus Union, RTBU, Queensland President Steph White stated train control members took low-impact industrial action for 24 hours starting 12 a.m. on April 1, targeting coal and mineral trains, not passenger services. Queensland Rail confirmed about 300 services were cancelled on Wednesday, April 1, on the Ipswich and Cleveland lines due to the dispute. Negotiations between Queensland Rail and unions, including RTBU and ETU, began in January 2024, covering approximately 5,600 rail workers. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states Queensland Rail did not tell workers not to attend work, but RTBU President Steph White claims workers were prevented from working by government QR decision. ABC reports Queensland Rail advised members they would not be paid if not performing full duties, while ETU claims the government threatened workers with no pay for participating in minor actions. Newscomau claims the union intended to target only coal and freight operations, but ABC's Steph White says the government escalated the dispute by preventing workers from performing their jobs. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 27 of 44. Northern Territory custody death and related stabbing incident in Katherine. Northern Territory custody death and related stabbing incident in Katherine. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A 19-year-old man died from a serious stab wound in Katherine, NT, after being found in a car by police on Sunday evening, 6:45 p.m. The victim was pronounced dead shortly after being taken to Katherine's temporary field hospital, established due to Cyclone Narelle preparations. An 18-year-old man with stab wounds was found in the same vehicle and airlifted to Darwin in a serious but stable condition. A 19-year-old driver was arrested and remains in custody for the incident. The incident is being investigated as a death in custody as the victim was in police care before dying. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau states the second victim, 18, was found near the hospital in a car, while ABC says the second victim was found in a vehicle at the field hospital. News Kamau mentions the 25-year-old death occurred in the back of a police vehicle, while ABC does not specify the location of the 25-year-old's death beyond in custody. News Kamau references the 26-year-old's death at Darwin Correctional Centre, but ABC does not provide this specific location for the second death in custody. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 28 of 44. Legal and political dispute over Trump's $400 million White House ballroom project and East Wing demolition. Legal and political dispute over Trump's $400 million White House ballroom project and East Wing demolition. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Federal Judge Richard Leon issued a preliminary injunction on March 19, 2025, halting construction of Trump's $400 million White House ballroom without congressional approval, ruling no statute gives the president the authority he claims. The National Trust for Historic Preservation filed a federal lawsuit in December 2024 to block the ballroom, arguing Trump violated laws by demolishing the East Wing without review. The National Capital Planning Commission, NCPC, received over 35,000 public comments opposing the ballroom, with the majority condemning the East Wing demolition, mentioned in Guardian articles 1 and 3. The Commission of Fine Arts, which Trump stocked with loyalists, voted to approve the ballroom project in February 2025, Guardian articles 1 and 3. The East Wing demolition began in October 2024 to make way for the 90,000 square feet, 8,400 square m, ballroom, Guardian articles 1, 3, 5, ABC article 4. But not all outlets told the same story. Guardian article 1 states Trump's fellow Republicans have up until now not felt the need to weigh in on the project, but Guardian article 3 implies the NCPC, chaired by a Trump ally, is likely to approve it. Guardian article 2 claims the NPS argues halting construction poses grave national security harms, while Judge Leon's ruling, ABC article 4, states he reviewed private government materials and concluded halting construction wouldn't jeopardize security. Guardian article 1 reports Trump's administration is appealing the decision, but ABC article 4 does not mention this appeal explicitly. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 29 of 44. TT Line introduces 15% fuel surcharge on Spirit of Tasmania ferry tickets due to rising fuel costs. TT Line introduces 15% fuel surcharge on Spirit of Tasmania ferry tickets due to rising fuel costs. Here's what every outlet agrees on. TT Line introduced a 15% fuel surcharge on new Spirit of Tasmania ferry tickets effective immediately, both sources. Fuel prices for TT Line increased by 80%, both sources. TT Line projects $50 million in losses due to rising fuel costs, both sources. The surcharge applies only to new ticket purchases, not existing bookings, both sources. Ken Konofsky is the chairman of TT Line, both sources. But not all outlets told the same story. News Kamau specifies the surcharge for a porthole cabin with a high vehicle costs $147, but ABC does not provide this exact breakdown. ABC highlights TT Line's insolvency declaration by Tasmania's Auditor General last year, while News Kamau does not mention this. News Kamau states the surcharge is temporary but also flags it could remain even after fuel prices drop, while ABC emphasizes the temporary nature more explicitly. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 30 of 44. Tiger Woods Florida DUI arrest and crash after rollover incident involving opioid pills. Tiger Woods Florida DUI arrest and crash after rollover incident involving opioid pills. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Tiger Woods was arrested on March 27, 2024, in Martin County, Florida, for driving under the influence, DUI, property damage, and refusal to submit to a lawful test after a rollover crash on Jupiter Island. Woods told police he was looking at his phone and adjusting the radio before clipping a truck and flipping his Land Rover onto its side. Deputies found 2 white pills identified as hydrocodone, Norco, in Woods' pocket during the arrest. Woods admitted to taking a few prescription medications earlier in the day, including hydrocodone, Vicodin, and medications for blood pressure and cholesterol. Woods submitted to a breath test showing no alcohol but refused a urine test for drug screening. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports the truck damage was $7,254, while The Guardian estimates it was roughly $5,000. ABC states Woods was traveling at high speeds on a beachside residential road, while The Guardian does not mention speed. ABC mentions Woods was 50 years old at the time, explicitly stated, but The Guardian does not emphasize his age. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 31 of 44. 20-year-old man accused of plotting WA terror attacks faces bail hearing. 20-year-old man accused of plotting WA terror attacks faces bail hearing. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Jason Joseph Michaels, 20, is accused of plotting a terrorist attack targeting Parliament House, police headquarters, and mosques in Perth, WA, following a raid on his parents' Bindoon home in February 2024. Police seized a written manifesto diary containing plans for mass casualty attacks, dozens of rounds of ammunition, 900+ guns, and knives during the raid at Bindoon, 75 kilometers northeast of Perth. Magistrate Belinda Coleman refused bail for Michaels, describing his diary as disturbing and not just ramblings but evidence of intent, and noting he was remanded in custody. Michaels allegedly referenced white supremacist ideology, consulted extremist manifestos, and researched targets like mosque entry points and lockpicking techniques. Michaels appeared via video link from Casuarina Prison's Special Handling Unit during the bail hearing on March 2024. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC mentions Michaels may require an assessment for autism spectrum disorder, but this detail is not referenced in Newscomer or The Guardian. The Guardian describes Michaels' diary as containing a list of actions he planned to undertake, while Newscomer frames it as big grandiose ideas that were never going to happen, implying differing interpretations of intent. Newscomer states Michaels allegedly researched explosives via a 3D computer and bomb-making materials, but The Guardian does not specify this method, only mentioning a 3D printer for a gun. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 32 of 44. International coalition meeting to reopen Strait of Hormuz amid Iran blockade. International coalition meeting to reopen Strait of Hormuz amid Iran blockade. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A virtual meeting of 35 to 40 countries, including Australia, UK, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Japan, Canada, South Korea, New Zealand, UAE, Nigeria, was held on the 29th of March, 2024 to discuss reopening the Strait of Hormuz, excluding the US. Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong and Deputy PM Richard Marles attended the meeting, with Wong representing Australia virtually. The UK, led by Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper, convened the meeting, with a follow-up military planning session scheduled for the 2nd of April, 2024 to discuss clearing mines and securing the strait post-ceasefire. Iran has effectively blocked the Strait of Hormuz since US-Israel strikes on the 28th of February, 2024, stranding 1,000 or 2,000 ships and 20,000 seafarers, reducing daily vessel traffic from 150 to 130. The strait carries 20–25% of global seaborne oil trade, with 10 to 25% of world oil gas supplies passing through pre-conflict. Blockades have caused fuel price spikes and economic disruptions globally. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports Macron called military reopening of the strait unrealistic, Article 7, while Article 3 states Macron is pushing for an international escort mission post-ceasefire. Article 3 claims Iran has virtually closed the strait to marine traffic, but Article 2 states Iran's blockade is partial with 130 ships passing daily, versus pre-conflict 150. Article 1, ABC, says Australia's E7 Wedgetail is deployed to the UAE with 85 crew, while Article 8, Newscom, does not specify crew numbers for the Wedgetail deployment. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Story 33 of 44. Affordable flight options to Europe in 2026 amid Middle East instability. Affordable flight options to Europe in 2026 amid Middle East instability. Here's what every outlet agrees on. A business-class return flight from Melbourne to London with Etihad in mid-April to early May costs $4,881, nearly half the price of 2025 and $2,000 cheaper than Emirates Premium Economy for the same route and dates. Economy class fares to Europe via Asia-based carriers, e.g., Air China, Malaysia Airlines, Qantas, Turkish Airlines, are comparable to 2025 prices, with examples like Melbourne to London for $1,295, Air China, and Sydney to Paris for $2,167, Malaysia Airlines. Return business class fares with Qantas, Singapore Airlines, Japan Airlines, ANA, or Turkish Airlines start at $12,000 for any time in the next 6 months. China-based carriers and Vietnam Airlines offer sub-$10,000 return business class fares to Europe. Flights via the US, e.g., American Airlines, United, are safer but more expensive, with return economy fares ranging from $2,600 to $4,000 and business class from $12,664 to $13,551. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 34 of 44. Australia's fuel supply crisis and government response amid Middle East conflict. Australia's fuel supply crisis and government response amid Middle East conflict. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Australia currently holds 30 days of diesel, 39 days of petrol, and 30 days of jet fuel in reserve, ABC Article 1, ABC Article 2. Fuel shipments to Australia are secured through May 2024, ABC Article 1, ABC Article 2. Government modelling from mid-March assumed rationing would begin if fuel stockpiles dropped to 10 days, ABC Article 1, ABC Article 2. Voluntary measures to reduce fuel consumption would activate if stockpiles fell to 15 days, ABC Article 1, ABC Article 2. The federal government cut the fuel excise by 26.3 cents per litre starting April 1st, saving motorists $19 per 65-litre tank, ABC Article 1, ABC Article 2. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC Article 1 states the government has passed legislation to underwrite future fuel shipments, but ABC Article 2 does not mention this legislation explicitly. ABC Article 1 quotes Prime Minister Albanese dismissing modelling as speculation, while ABC Article 2 describes the modelling as preliminary analysis without direct dismissal. ABC Article 1 reports 457 service stations without diesel and 125 without petrol as of April 2024, but ABC Article 2 does not include these specific numbers. This story was covered by ABC News. Story 35 of 44. NRL legend Nathan Merritt's cancer diagnosis and South Sydney's Legacy Bell appearance. NRL legend Nathan Merritt's cancer diagnosis and South Sydney's Legacy Bell appearance. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nathan Merritt has stage 4 cancer affecting his liver and esophagus. Merritt has been given approximately 12 months to live by doctors. Merritt will ring the Legacy Bell for South Sydney against the Bulldogs on Good Friday at Accor Stadium. Merritt scored 154 career tries, including 135 for South Sydney, SMH, 135, Newskamau, 146, corrected to 135 as per SMH's precise figure. Merritt last attended a South Sydney game during the Indigenous round at Homebush in 2023 against Parramatta. But not all outlets told the same story. SMH reports Merritt scored 135 tries for South Sydney, while Newskamau states 146 tries. SMH's figure is verified as precise. SMH does not mention Merritt's weight loss as drastic as down from 105 kilograms to 83 kilograms in any WSMU's phrasing, though both agree on 20 kilograms loss. Newskamau omits Merritt's dying wish to see Souths win the premiership, focusing instead on his inspirational battle framing. This story was covered by news.com.au and Sydney Morning Herald. Story 36 of 44. Zac Lomax's delayed rugby union debut with Western force against Queensland Reds. Zac Lomax's delayed rugby union debut with Western force against Queensland Reds. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Zac Lomax is a former NSW State of Origin star who joined Western force after leaving Parramatta Eels without an NRL contract. Lomax scored 2 tries for NSW in the 2025 Origin opener, 18-6 win over Queensland Maroons, at Lang Park. Lomax kicked 3 crucial goals in NSW's 2024 State of Origin decider, Lang Park. Lomax's most recent match at Lang Park was in July 2024, scoring 2 tries as Parramatta Eels upset Brisbane Broncos, NRL. Western Force vs Queensland Reds match is scheduled for 7:35 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time on Saturday at Lang Park. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Lomax is available for selection this week and could make his force debut against Reds, but Article 2 reports he was ruled out due to hamstring tightness. Article 1 claims Lomax was named on the Force's starting 15 for the Reds match, while Article 2 says he was on the reserves bench. Article 3 states Lomax will come off the bench for the Reds match, but Article 1 does not specify his bench position explicitly. This story was covered by ABC News. Story 37 of 44. Review of JW Marriott Khao Lak Resort and Spa in Thailand by 2 Australian news sources. Review of JW Marriott Khao Lak Resort and Spa in Thailand by 2 Australian news sources. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The resort is named JW Marriott Khao Lak Resort and Spa. It has 424 rooms and villas in total, including 127 added after a major redevelopment. The resort is located at 4112 Smu 3 Kuk Kark, Takua Pa District, Phang Ngo, Thailand, 82220. Deluxe rooms start at $253 per night. The resort features 6 distinct accommodation wings connected by extensive waterways. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the 2 sources. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 38 of 44. Former AFL player Nick Stevens convicted of fraud in pool installation scheme. Former AFL player Nick Stevens convicted of fraud in pool installation scheme. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nick Stevens was found guilty on 12 counts of obtaining a financial advantage by deception and 1 charge of using a false document in the County Court of Victoria, May 2024. Stevens pleaded not guilty to all 14 fraud-related charges in 2019, with the case spanning multiple trials and delays. 6 families in Mildura, Victoria, were defrauded out of a total of $170,000 to $171,000 for pools they never received or had illegally installed. Stevens was remanded in custody until his plea hearing on May 21, 2024, with Judge Fiona Todd denying bail extensions. The 6 victims were left with either unfinished pools, giant holes in their backyards, or no pools at all, with only one family receiving a full refund and another a partial refund. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states Stevens was 45 years old at the time of conviction, while Newskamau reports he was 46. Newskamau describes Stevens as showing little reaction to the verdicts, while ABC does not mention his physical reaction. ABC reports Stevens was found not guilty on one charge relating to the first victim's part payment, but Newskamau does not specify this detail. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 39 of 44. Israel's parliament approves death penalty law for Palestinians in West Bank. Israel's parliament approves death penalty law for Palestinians in West Bank. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Israel's parliament passed legislation making the death penalty by hanging the default punishment for West Bank Palestinians convicted of nationalistic killings or acts of terror against Israelis, ABC, Guardian 1, Guardian 3. The law applies only to future cases and is not retroactive, sparing Palestinians freed in ceasefire deals, ABC, Guardian 3. Itamar Ben-Gvir, Israel's far-right national security minister, spearheaded the bill and wore a noose-shaped lapel pin during debates, ABC, Guardian 3. The law will be enforced within 30 days of passage, ABC, Guardian 3. Israel's Association of Civil Rights in Israel petitioned the Supreme Court, calling the law discriminatory by design, ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. Guardian 1 frames the law as part of a systemic, long-term dehumanization campaign by Israel, while ABC presents it as a narrow, far-right-driven response to specific attacks, Guardian 1 vs ABC. Guardian 1 claims the law is a new phase in Israel's oppression, but ABC notes Israel has not executed anyone since 1962, implying limited practical impact, Guardian 1 vs ABC. Guardian 1 argues the law institutionalizes a pre-existing reality of Palestinian killings, while ABC emphasizes the law's novelty and far-right origins, Guardian 1 vs ABC. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 40 of 44. Western Australia faces severe mouse plague threatening agriculture and homes. Western Australia faces severe mouse plague threatening agriculture and homes. Here's what every outlet agrees on. CSIRO Research Officer Steve Henry reported mouse numbers exceeding 2,000 to 8,000 per hectare in Western Australian cropping zones, Midwest, Wheatbelt, Goldfields Esperance, as of 2024, with 4,000 burrows per hectare found in some paddocks. Farmers are facing potential losses of $1 billion worth of grain crops, wheat, barley, canola, due to mice consuming freshly sown seeds, with WA Farmers Chief Executive Trevor Whittington calling it one of the worst outbreaks. Mice are breeding rapidly, with females producing 6 to 10 babies every 19 to 21 days and becoming pregnant again within days, leading to exponential population growth, e.g., 100 females per hectare could become 600 in 3 weeks. Farmers are unable to access high-strength mouse bait, ZP50, without federal approval, creating delays in pest control efforts. Residents in regional WA communities report unprecedented mouse infestations in homes, including mice chewing through plastic containers, milk cartons, and food supplies. But not all outlets told the same story. Newskamau states farmers are seeing up to 8,000 mice per hectare in some paddocks, while ABC only reports concerns at 200 to 300 mice per hectare as cause for concern without citing 8,000. Newskamau highlights federal approval delays for ZP50 bait as a critical issue, but ABC does not mention this specific bait or approval process. Newskamau attributes the plague's severity to cyclonic rains worsening conditions, while ABC does not reference weather as a contributing factor. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Story 41 of 44. Victorian government expands device bans in all schools starting 2027. Victorian government expands device bans in all schools starting 2027. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Premier Jacinta Allen announced sweeping device bans in Victorian schools on Wednesday, making Victoria the first state to introduce such rules across all school sectors. Mobile phones have been banned in Victorian public schools since 2020, with the policy credited by Education Minister Ben Carroll for reducing classroom distractions and improving focus, socialisation, and behaviour. The new policy, effective January 27, 2027, will ban smartwatches, with notifications, recording functions, or internet connectivity, headphones, and mobile phones in all Victorian public, Catholic, and private schools during school hours. Exceptions will apply for students requiring devices to monitor health conditions. Education Minister Ben Carroll stated the ban on phones in public schools improved student distraction rates, learning, behaviour, socialisation, and focus. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports that Parents Victoria CEO Gail McHardy advocates for student-led consultation in policy changes, while Newscamau and Thege do not mention this perspective. Thege details a specific disciplinary process for device violations at Caroline Chisholm Catholic College, e.g., parents must collect devices on the second offence, which is not mentioned in the other sources. ABC states that 60% of children aged 7 to 12 use smartwatches, a statistic not referenced in Newscamau or Thege. This story was covered by ABC News, news.com.au, and The Age. Story 42 of 44. US President Trump criticizes European allies over Iran war and oil supply disruptions. US President Trump criticizes European allies over Iran war and oil supply disruptions. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Donald Trump on Truth Social, Guardian, and social media, ABC, told European countries to go get your own oil by force from the Strait of Hormuz, including the UK and France. France blocked Israeli planes carrying weapons from flying through its airspace, Guardian and ABC. Italy denied last-minute permission for US bombers to land in Sicily, Guardian, and blocked US warplanes from landing at Sigonella Base, ABC. Spain has denied the US use of its bases and airspace for the Iran war, Guardian, and its defense minister said Spain would not accept lectures from anyone, Guardian. The Strait of Hormuz oil supply shock caused by the US-Israeli attack on Iran is described as probably the worst ever by Irish Taoiseach Michael Martin, Guardian, and has led to US gas prices passing $4 a gallon for the first time in 4 years, Guardian and ABC. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports Pope Leo XIV, a fictional character, expressed hope for peace, while ABC does not mention the Pope at all. The Guardian states Trump warned of obliterating Iran's power stations and water plants as a potential war crime, but ABC does not mention this specific threat. The Guardian reports Spain's defense minister said NATO and allies cannot unilaterally decide global rules, while ABC does not include this quote or detail. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Story 43 of 44. Impact of RBA surcharge ban on Qantas Frequent Flyer points earnings. Impact of RBA surcharge ban on Qantas Frequent Flyer points earnings. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Debit and credit surcharges were banned nationwide on October 1, 2023. The interchange fee for credit cards was slashed 63% from 0.8% to 0.3% as compensation for merchants. The Reserve Bank of Australia previously reduced interchange fees in 2017, leading to reduced points earn rates, some by up to a half, and slashed sign-up bonuses. Qantas Health Insurance offers a sign-up bonus of 140,000 Qantas points for new customers joining by April 9. Everyday rewards at Woolworths, Big W, and BWS converts points to Qantas at a 2-to-1 ratio. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Story 44 of 44. Australian court hearing on extradition of ex-Pinochet agent Adriana Rivas for torture charges. Australian court hearing on extradition of ex-Pinochet agent Adriana Rivas for torture charges. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Adriana Rivas is a 72-year-old Australian resident accused of kidnapping and torture during Augusto Pinochet's dictatorship in Chile in the 1970s. Chile formally requested her extradition from Australia in 2014, and she has been in detention since 2019 awaiting removal. A two-day federal court hearing in New South Wales, Justice Michael Lee, began in 2024 to consider her final extradition appeal. Prosecutors allege Rivas was involved in the kidnapping, interrogation, and disappearances of 7 victims at the Simon Bolivar Barracks, a torture site. Rivas fled Chile in 2011 while on bail and arrived in Australia in 2011-2012, working as a nanny in Bondi. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC reports previously unreported emails suggest DFAT consular officials may have aided Rivas's escape, but DFAT denies any record of this assistance. ABC cites Rivas's 2012 email to a housing minister stating consular officials helped me all the way, while DFAT claims no knowledge of her bail breach or departure. No contradictions in core facts between SBS and ABC, both agree on dates, charges, and court proceedings. This story was covered by ABC News and SBS News.